This is the case of Karl Warner, a businessman in Antigua and Barbuda who betrayed the trust of a vulnerable teenager, grooming and exploiting her in a calculated abuse of power. This is a story of manipulation, betrayal, and the justice that followed. Growing up in a home with his mother and siblings, Karl is said to have had a generally stable childhood, where even though his father did not reside with him, he was a part of the guidance and discipline Karl and his siblings received while growing up. As an active member of society, Karl was an avid skater. Wherever so often you will see him whipping through the streets of St. John's on his skates. He also had his hands in boxing and even taught classes at a local gym. Karl went on to open his business called KW Posh Designs, located in a craft market on the opposite side of the West Bus Station in St. John's. At his business, he provided body modification services such as piercings, wart removals, and more, with positive reviews to go along with it. You were also able to see Karl very active on his social media page, speaking about the impacts his services have had on his customers. But Karl's life would soon change. Due to having to gather information for a project for school, a 14-year-old female child, who we will call Renee as her name is not mentioned, visited KW Posh Designs to get the details she needed for her project, and this is where she met Karl. After interacting with Karl over a period of time, Renee became more and more comfortable opening up to Karl about her home life and the struggles she had. According to the judge, this is where Karl crossed legal boundaries by grooming and manipulating the minor into performing sexual activities with him. Karl, who was 40 at the time of the incident, was charged on the 26th of February 2024. The trial proceeded on the 1st of October 2024 and concluded on the 4th of October 2024, where he was found guilty on 7 counts of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. These are the findings of the case. Between 23rd of February 2021 and the 14th of May 2021, Karl Warner had unlawful sexual intercourse with Renee at his business place at the craft market. Now, if you have ever been to the craft market, you know how close these business spaces are to each other, with only a wall separating them, and the opening to the public is merely 5 steps between inside and outside. It also goes on to say that the defendant, Karl, committed serious indecency on Renee by sucking her, that he had groomed the victim by gaining her trust and then taking advantage of her. His actions were calculated, deliberate, and designed to prey on her innocence. A social inquiry was done by the probation officer, who interviewed the defendant's mother and his brother along with members of the craft market community where Karl had his business. In this inquiry, they found that Karl had a stable upbringing and a normal family life. It was also found that Karl did not have any prior legal incidences before now. He has never been to jail and he has never been in any serious legal issues with the exception of one minor battery offense. The inquiry also goes on to state that Mr. Henry, the probation officer, was unsuccessful in getting in contact with Karl's daughter as he wanted to speak to her about the father's behavior while he was raising her and about the rumors that had been going around about possible inappropriate behavior from her father towards her. The probation officer goes on to state that Renee, the victim, blames herself to some degree for returning to Karl's business place after her project was completed. However, she was a minor who was seeking comfort and guidance from an adult who she trusted, therefore she was not to blame. During Karl's interview with Mr. Henry, Karl goes on to state that he regrets not severing ties with Renee, the victim, after her school project was finished and wanted to offer an apology to the victim's family, and the court. Renee, who is now 17 years old, was also interviewed by the probation officer for the victim impact assessment. Her mother states that she realizes that her daughter now immerses herself into studies as a way to shut out feelings and memories of the matter. She is now pursuing business administration at a tertiary level. It goes on to state that she now has issues with trusting people, especially males in particular. She recalls that when she was 14, she was having a turbulent time with her family and parents and needed someone that she could trust and confide in. She goes on to state that in the initial stages of meeting Karl, it started out as mental comfort and it gradually turned into Karl having sexual conversations with her about sexual characteristics of her body and her sexuality. She said they then started to exchange hugs and sexual pleasantries at his business place and over the phone. Renee also expressed regrets. She stated that she felt powerless because of the defendant's sexual advances and charming personality and his ability to convince her to see things from his perspective. According to Renee, she is much stronger now and she is trying to move forward and forget about the offense. Now, moving on to the mitigating factors for the sentencing. Mitigating factors, put simply, means the court is going to look for instances in the case, or the defendant, if you will, to identify facts that they can use to lessen the severity of the sentence for the offense. In this segment, Karl, who defended himself in court, goes on to apologize and explain that he could not simply imagine the damage he would have caused to the victim in this case. He also goes on to say that there was no sex, no abuse, and no violence. He also brought two character references, Karim, his brother, and Onika Octave, to speak of his good character and clean record up to this point. He also presented Calvin Pilgrim as a character witness, where Mr. Pilgrim explained that he has known Karl since he was a child and taught him. When Mr. Pilgrim was examined by the prosecutor of the case, it was found out that the last time Mr. Pilgrim interacted with Karl was over 10 years ago. Seriousness of the crime is also taken into consideration, and it was stated that Karl was in fact grooming the victim. As he questioned her about the personal things she confided in him about and things about her family while on the stand. The evidence that emerged went on to demonstrate that there was a significant degree of planning by the defendant to gradually work his way towards having sex with the victim. Following this are the other factors that are taken into consideration for Karl's sentencing. The aggravating factors of the offense are as follows: the fact that the offense took place inside the defendant's place of business at Craft Market in the heart of the capital, demonstrating the barefaced and brazen attitude of the defendant while committing the offense, as he was apparently unconcerned while being noticed by members of the public who might have observed a minor child that was unrelated to him visiting him at his business place. The prevalence of this type of crime in Antigua and Barbuda. Also noted is the lack of remorse displayed by the defendant, who continued to deny the allegation throughout the course of the trial and his statements. Carlos pleaded not guilty to the charges and argued that his constitutional rights were violated by publicizing his name and picture, as per Section 29 of the Sexual Offences Act. However, an attorney present read the statute to the court and clarified that the protection no longer applies once the person has been convicted, as he was. For the offenses of unlawful sexual intercourse, Karl Warner was sentenced to a total of 11 years in prison.